Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to name ketones. How do we identify ketones? Ketones have the carbonyl group within the chain, and it must be bonded to two other carbons. So, for example, you must have the carbonyl group attached to two other carbon chains for it to be a ketone. C double bond O must be between two carbons. So once you see that, that tells you you're dealing with a ketone functional group. The IUPAC naming rules for ketones are as follows. The first thing is to find the longest chain that includes the carbonyl group. The second one is number the chain from the end closest to the carbonyl group, which is like the ketone group. Identify and name substituents if there are any. Include the position of the carbonyl group if necessary. Replace the E at the end of the alkane name with ONE, and that is the suffix for ketones. Example 1, you're given this compound and you're asked to name it. The first thing to do is to identify the longest continuous carbon chain, and we're going to count from the side that gives the ketone functional group the lowest number possible. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you count from this side, you have it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you count from the right, the position of the ketone functional group will be on carbon 5. But if you count from the left, it's going to be on carbon 3. So that means we're going to go with the first counting because that gives the ketone a lower number. Once we have the longest continuous carbon chain identified, the next step would be to see if there is any branches or any substituent. If we check, apart from the functional group, the other attached atoms are hydrogens, which means we don't have a branch. So we'll just go ahead and name. The longest continuous carbon chain is 7, and the prefix for 7 carbons is hept. And remember that we name this as if we're naming an alkane. So you're going to say heptane. So complete it as if you're naming an alkane, heptane, and then remove this E. Place the position of the functional group, which in this case is 3, and then put ONE. So the name of this compound will be heptane 3-one, and that is it. The second example I have is this. Here you're given a compound that has a double bond as well as the ketone. The first step, identify your longest continuous carbon chain, and we're going to count from the side that gives the ketone the lowest number possible, and that is because ketones have a higher priority than alkenes. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now identify your substituent or branches. We have bromine as the branches. So when naming, we're going to start with the branches. And the branches are attached to carbon 4 and 5 respectively. And since they are the same type of branch, you're going to group them with a prefix for 2 identical groups, which is di. We start with the numbers, the positions, and you have 4, 5, and then the di, and bromine as a branch is bromo, so dibromo, and that is it for the branch. So we're done with all the branches. Next step, we name the parent chain. 9 carbons as the longest continuous carbon chain, and the prefix for 9 carbon is non. Okay, now this time we're not going to say nonane because we have an alkene. The double bond has changed this to an alkene. So this will be non, and then position of the alkene, and usually alkenes are between 2 carbons, but you need to name the lower number. So in this case, we're going to use 3 and not 4. So that means you have non-3, okay? And then this is going to be in. Now, the in In a complete form, it's going to be ENE. But as usual, we're going to remove this and replace it with ONE, which is the suffix for ketone. But before we do that, we need to put the position of the ketone, which is 2. So that becomes 3 in 2 on. So the name of this compound is 4,5-dibromo non-3 in 2 on. Okay, and that's it. The last example is when you have 2 ketone functional groups attached. In this case, we're going to, as usual, identify the longest continuous carbon chain. So remember, you always count to give the lowest priorities to the ketone functional group. But in this case, I have the functional groups both on carbon 2. If I'm counting from the left, is on carbon 2. If I'm counting from the right, is carbon 2. And in that case, you need to count from the side that will give the branch a lower number. Since the 2 ketones are on the same position, regardless of where you count from. So you can shift your priority to the branches this time. Now, if I count from this side, the branch will have a higher number. So you need to count from the left instead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now that we've identified the longest continuous carbon chain, the next thing will be to identify the branches. We have 1 carbon branch here, which is known as methyl. We have 2 carbon branch here, and that is called ethyl. Next, you start with the branches when naming. And in this case, we have 2 different groups attached. You have to name alphabetically. So we're starting with ethyl because E comes before M alphabetically. The position is 4-ethyl. And on carbon 3, you have the methyl group. And the last part would be the longest continuous chain. 8 is the longest continuous carbon chain, and the prefix for 8 is oct. We're going to say octane in full. This is the case where the E is left intact. Because you have 2 ketone groups, do not remove the E like we did for the others, the other 2 examples. So you're going to leave it as it is, so octane. And then because you have 2, we use the prefix for 2 identical groups or functional groups in this case, and that would be di and on. Okay, so that's it, dione. So that would be 4-ethyl, 3-methyl, octane, dione. And that is it. I hope you found this video helpful, and please don't forget to share to those who this might be useful to. And if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, please do me a favor and subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting me, and thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful day, and see you in my next video. Bye-bye.